Cool, because Sharon, we know you have to head off soon. You have to head off quickly, and you have been diving into Paramount Plus.
Yes.
So, did you pay for Paramount Plus, or did you already have Paramount Plus free? Because I know that we don't like to spend too much money on this podcast.
Oh no,
So,
I got it free with Sky.
and
You,
you have
if you're a Sky customer, you've now got Paramount comes with it or something. I certainly
okay.
didn't pay any money for it. You've just got to add the app to your. You've got to download or link or do something. But yeah, you don't have to pay for it.
All
I'm
right,
not.
cool, cool. And I have access to a Sky account. I'll put it that way. So, so I'll see if I have access to it. But quickly, you've been watching 1883, which is a prequel to a TV show called Yellowstone that none of us have watched. But tell us, when you finished watching this, what do you think of this?
Yes, I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if it's prequel because I'm like almost watching it in order. So it's a historical. So 1880 is basically the origin story of the Dutton family who feature largely in a film called Yellowstone, and that's just become well known because Kevin Costner sort of is the inspiration behind bringing like the Yellowstone universe or one of the powerhouses um, onto the small screen. And so they've got a big cast. So 1883 is basically the origin story of how the Dutton Ranch was founded, and we see the cast of characters basically in 1883. The transcontinental railroad has been built by this point, but for most poor immigrants and most people who are trying to save a bit of money, they still go overland. And the overland journey from basically the civilized eastern states of America across like the Indian territories, as they were called, the unsettled part of America, to the western coast, where all the prime land is for people who want to settle and farm. It's still an arduous and a dangerous journey. This is in 1803, before when there's still before the really the suppression of like the Native American tribes.
Mm.
So there's still that element of danger, and there's a lot of lawlessness. It's the post-Civil War years where a lot of that area of that western is quite unregulated and there's no civil defence, no civil law there. So basically, you've got this family played by Tim McGraw and his real life wife Faith Hill and their two children, a daughter Elsa and their son, little boy called John, who've decided that they're going to pack up life. He's post Civil War. He was in the army. He was in the army of the Confederacy. Have decided that there's no future for them back in the east. They're going to head west and they're going to settle in Oregon. And then they meet up with a guy played by Sam
Okay,
Elliot.
sorry, Sharon. It's just
Yeah.
Sharon. I don't know. I'm not sure if you're aware, but it just sounded as if you just started humming, and it sounded like you were trying
Oh,
to
did I?
hum.
Sorry, that's me. Yeah, it's
It
because
sounded
I got these headphones in. I tend to do that. If I take these headphones out, can I take the headphones out, or is it too echoey? Let's just hear, yeah.
yeah. It's like you started humming, and I was like, is that the theme tune to 1883?
Is that? Ah, that's better. I told you, didn't I? I told you these headphones. What did I say when I put them in? I said they're not very good, didn't I? Right.
It was weird because I like the way you sound on the I like the way you sounded on the headphones, but
Yeah.
the problem was just that we could hear every little sort of like
All right. Okay.
okay, so but never mind. Sorry, Sharon, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill.
They're play the Dutton family, and so they're going to head west on their own. They're going to like strike it out on their own. But early on in the film, they encounter some sort of bandits, and then they encounter Sam Elliot and his best friend called played by LaMonica Garrett, who are former Union soldiers, they are being employed to lead a group of mainly German and Eastern European settlers who want to farm in the Oregon Territory. And so these two group of people meet up, and then they basically head west across like Texas and then into the Indian territories. And they basically meet every possible obstacle you can meet. There's rivers, there's bandits, there's the wildlife, there's the indigenous populations who don't want them there. And
Yeah.
the thing is, like, they are battling against a hostile environment, the land that has not been settled. There's a reason why it hasn't got the cities there, that hasn't got like a large indigenous population there. It's because the land is hostile. It's too hot in the summer, it's too cold in the winter, and there's things that bite you, that sting you, that want to kill you. The rivers are fierce, they flood. So basically, this journey west is a bit of a nightmare. And over 10 episodes, you basically see most of the journey through the eyes of the daughter, Elsa Dutton. Her loves, her losses, and her feelings, and how basically the Dutton family cross the mountains and the deserts and the plains, and finally settle in their own land, and that land endures, and then you see them again 150 odd years later in Yellowstone. So it's this journey of this family and how they basically try to forge their new path.
So do they sort of like link it by the end of this to Yellowstone?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
There are clear patterns, and there's the symbolism in it. Because I've only watched the first couple of episodes of Yellowstone, because I watched 1883 first, and I thought, oh, I'll go and watch some Yellowstone. And you can clearly see. I know, obviously, I put the sort of the horse before the cart, basically, because I saw it in the other way around to most people. So I could immediately see the symbolism from the first episodes that it linked in to everything I had seen in the origin story.
All right, cool. But if you wanted to do them in chronological order, you might want to wait until the Harrison Ford starring one that's in between Yellowstone and 1883. So, I don't know, because Yellowstone is like one of those things that people just keep talking about and I keep thinking it just sounds like watching a family. How is this interesting? But you're saying that you started watching Yellowstone, so obviously you must have liked 1883.
Yeah, because I've always liked westerns. It's one of those things it's been since my teenage years when I started reading westerns. I've always liked that western genre, and so this is basically like that. Not the revisionist westerns that we sort of had a phase in like the 60s. This is going back to almost like trying to find that sort of gritty realism without being too revisionist about it. So it is looking at that how the settlers, they were vulnerable to being predated upon by nature and by other people.
Yeah.
That the journey west was a hard one and brutal, and it took no prisoners. It showed no mercy, and this sort of shows that this unflinching, brutality of what it took to fight out or sort of carve yourself a piece of a land that isn't yours.
Yeah, it reminds me. It makes me think of there's the film The Ballad of Buster Scruggs by the Coen brothers, and there's a short bit in it. Because there's like 6 short stories that is told in this one, and there's one of them that is very much about like the caravan and everything like that, and people going across. And I love what you said. Put that in my mind. But how many stars would you give this?
I think it's really well done. I mean, you can't fault Sam Elliot.
Can I just ask? Sorry, can I just ask? Is it action or is it more melodrama, or is it a bit of mixture?
It's action.
It's action.
There are elements of it, because my brother watched the whole season as well, and there is romance in it, but there is fighting and there is the brutality of it, the West. So I thought it was done very well done. So I would give it a 4. And my brother, because we didn't watch it together. Actually, we watched a couple of episodes together, and then we end up watching it separate. But we both really quite rated it. So I would certainly give it a 4. I think it's well worth it. The language is, severe. The violence is bloody and brutal, but it wasn't gratuitous in any way. So it didn't. Obviously, there are scenes of horrible brutality, but we didn't go on it, so it wasn't gratuitous. But no, I thought it's good. Gave it a 4. And I would recommend it. I think it's certainly worth watching.
4 stars. That's 4 stars for 1883. Get your TV series net Western fix. As long as you do not get this. Okay. Obviously, this is almost like a dumb question to ask, because it would be weird if he didn't have it when he showed up on screen. But Sam Elliot must have his mustache in this, right?
He had his tash in it.
He had his tash. That tash could headline a film on its own. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.